it is very present all the way along the length of the blade now. A little last bit of work that I need to do is just evening up the sizes of the bevels. I know the angles are the same, and I just have to do a little more work on the left-hand side because visually I can see that it's smaller than the right-hand side. Okay, and looking at it now, it looks like we have solved that issue, and both bevels are nice and even, and we can get on to the polishing phases of sharpening. So we've completely reprofiled this knife, erased the factory edge, put a wicked edge on it at 15 degrees per side, evened up the bevels, and now we just start the simple process of sharpening and polishing by alternating strokes and cycling through the different grits. So I have the 100 grits in my hand, and I just flip them over to the 200, and I can just keep going. At this point, I'm already starting to lighten up my pressure and just use the weight of the stones and an upward and away motion for most of what I'm doing. Periodically, I'll come back and just spend a little more time back here at the heel just to make sure that the whole blade's getting proper coverage with the stones. Okay, I'm ready to switch to the 400 grit stones. A lot of people ask, how do you know when it's time to switch? And, like with these 400 grit stones, the second I put them on and they encounter the ridges from the previous stone, which was 200 grit, I'll feel that in the form of resistance. And the more strokes I make, the more I feel that resistance fading. And I'll reach a point here very quickly now where I'll feel that each consecutive stroke really is making no more improvement. It really just feels the same as the last stroke. And when I've got to that phase, then I know pretty well that I've done what I need to do with this set of stones. And that's already starting to happen here with these 400 grits. So the polishing portion of the knife sharpening really goes very quickly. That initial edge creation, reprofiling, building your primary bevels, that takes a little bit more time the very first time. But thankfully, with the way that you're able to record all of your settings and repeat everything so precisely, you never have to go back to that early phase. So that's kind of a one-time deal for each knife that you do. Okay, so finishing up on the 400s, switching to the 600s. Again, I feel that resistance. It just feels like a little bit of drag or pull on the knife as I encounter those ridges from the previous stone. And I feel that resistance fading very quickly as I cycle through these stones. So at this point, I've got a very nice edge, which I call a great working edge, and that's what you get with the basic kit and the 600 grit stones. This at 15 degrees is definitely going to be sharp enough to shave with, cut through the catalog as is. But we're going to go ahead and go on through the whole Pro kit and see what happens to the edge. So finishing up the 600 grit stones, I'm going to jump over to the 800 and 1000 grit stones. I just slide those on, start with the 800s. Again, right away there's that resistance, and within a few strokes I feel that resistance fading. I don't know if we're able to zoom way in on the knife here. I'd like to kind of show the progression of the edge as we get into these finer stones. Alright. There we go. Just kind of try and see how much polish we can see through the camera lens. Alright, so that's an 800 grit finish. I'm going to clean it off a little bit and then I'll switch to the 1000 grit. Okay, and that's looking really very nice. It's not a true mirror polish, but it's got a great shine to it. And here we are with 1,000 grits. Let's take a look at what that is, all cleaned up. Okay, and that's starting to look really nice. You can see the reflectivity along the edge now, especially if I put a little bit of light on it, probably. Alright, now we're going to jump to the leather strops. These leather strops on the first side I'm going to use have 5 micron diamonds in a paste applied to them. And I just do a nice up and away motion like this. And this quickly brings up the polish of the edge. Because the angle and the motion is controlled by the guide rod, I can really glaze through this, and you can see how many strokes I can pull off in even just a single minute, which makes it a very, very efficient way to polish out the edge and refine it. Clean that off and see how we're looking. Okay, and that's polishing up really nicely. So I'll flip over to the 3.5 micron strops. And we'll clean that off and see how it looks. Okay, so that edge is now looking terrific. You can really see the mirror shine in there really well. Okay, so I'm going to pop this out and we'll do the second half of our test, which is the knife after it's been sharpened, and we'll see how many pages of this catalog we can get through. The knife just slides right out. We'll take a look here. Again, I'm going to try and do this in the exact same way. A lot of downward pressure and drawing the knife toward me as I cut. Okay. Alright, that looks like it did much better. I easily got through to page 79, so that's a threefold improvement over the initial edge. And that's with a modest amount of work. I could spend a little more time polishing this probably and perfecting it, but I kind of wanted to just demonstrate. With the Pro Pack, you could take a factory knife that's got a decent edge, and you can spend 10, maybe 15 minutes on it and completely reprofile it and polish it to the 3.5 micron level and just have a smoking sharp edge. And even with a fully flat ground blade like this, a little bit of double-sided foam tape, you can clamp it easily and just get a tremendous result. So Doug, thank you very much for sending in the knife, and I hope you enjoy it when you get it back.